You know, when it comes to found footage horror, few franchises have managed to grab people's attention the way Hell House LLC did back in 2015. It set up such a simple and terrifying premise, and yet somehow the franchise just kept spinning its wheels after that. Today I'm ranking all 4 Hell House LLC movies from worst to best. So Stephen Cognetti has written and directed 4 films in this series so far, with a 5th one now released. Each one revolves around the infamous Abaddon Hotel, or in some cases locations connected to it, and every entry tries to expand on the lore while keeping those signature found footage scares. Some of those attempts work, most don't. In this video, I'm going to be going through each of them in ascending order, starting with my least favorite and working up to the one I think is the strongest. Before we jump in, if you enjoy horror breakdowns and ranking videos like this, make sure to hit that like button and subscribe to the channel. It really helps me out. And if you'd like to support the channel directly, I have a Patreon where you can subscribe for just $1 a month. It's a small way to help me keep making content like this. Coming in at number 4, the weakest entry in the franchise, we have Hell House LLC 3, A Lake of Fire. Plot-wise, this one picks up a year after the events of Hell House 2. The Abaddon Hotel is set to be demolished, but before that happens, a billionaire named Russell Wynn buys it to stage his interactive theater experience, Insomnia. He invites a journalist, Vanessa Shepard, and her crew to film the process of transforming the infamous hotel into a stage. The crew starts off skeptical, thinking they're documenting a production, but it quickly becomes clear that the Abaddon still has unfinished business, and this time the stakes are supposedly bigger than ever, with a lake of fire threatening to open up and unleash hell on Earth. This is easily my least favorite of the series. It tries to blow up the lore into something huge and cosmic, but instead of raising the stakes, it just makes everything feel cartoonish and overly complicated. The intimacy and creepiness that made the first film terrifying is completely lost here. Instead of building dread, it piles on exposition and story threads that don't really go anywhere satisfying. The scares themselves also suffer from repetition. By this point, the franchise is leaning heavily on its mascot, the clown. In the first movie, he was chilling because you never quite knew when or how he would appear. Here, he's basically just standing in place while the camera cuts away back and forth to show that his head turned or his position shift. It's the exact same trick over and over, and after a while it stops being scary and just becomes predictable. There are still a few creepy visuals with the Abaddon spirits, but they're few and far between, and they can't compensate for the lack of atmosphere. Ultimately, Lake of Fire feels like the point where the franchise completely ran out of steam. The horror takes a back seat to convoluted storytelling, and instead of keeping things small and scary, it tries to be epic and it fails. Coming in at number 3, we have Hell House LLC 2, The Abaddon Hotel. This sequel jumps forward 8 years after the first film. A journalist becomes convinced that the true answers about what happened at the Abaddon are still hidden inside. She gathers a team to sneak into the hotel, hoping to document everything and expose the truth. Along the way, we're also shown various news interviews and clips of amateur explorers who dared to sneak inside the Abaddon on their own, only to vanish without a trace. I'd call this one a mixed bag. On the positive side, I actually like the idea of incorporating social media clips and YouTuber-style footage. It made sense that people would want to document themselves exploring the haunted hotel, and it added some variety to the found footage format. A few of those sequences were genuinely tense and delivered solid scares. The ghost and demon designs also remained consistently unsettling. Stephen Cognetti always nails the look of the supernatural entities, and this film is no exception. Where it stumbles is pacing and structure. So much of the runtime is eaten up by fake news interviews, and those scenes really drag the movie down. Instead of building suspense, they stall it, and by the time the movie cuts back to the actual investigation, the tension has evaporated. It also doesn't help that the characters aren't nearly as compelling or well drawn as the ones in their original. Then there's the ending, where the movie really leans hard into building out the mythology of the Abaddon. This is where we first start to see the lore get messy and overcomplicated. While it doesn't reach the ridiculous levels of Part 3, it does tip the scales too far forward, explaining rather than scaring. Still, despite its flaws, this one has enough creepy moments to make it at least watchable. Moving on and coming in at number 2, we have the 4th entry in the franchise, Hell House LLC Origins: The Carmichael Manor. This installment shifts gears and takes us away from the Abaddon for the most part. It follows a group of cold case investigators who decided to stay at the Carmichael Manor, a location with its own horrifying history. Back in the 1980s, the Carmichael family was brutally murdered and the case was never solved. The investigators move in hoping to uncover answers. What they end up capturing on film, however, is far more disturbing than anything anyone expected. This one's a big improvement over parts 2 and 3. Right away you notice that the acting has taken a step up. The performances feel more grounded, which really helps sell the found footage style. The change of scenery is refreshing too. Instead of constantly recycling the Abaddon Hotel, we get a new creepy location with its own personality, which brings some much needed life back into the series. The scares are also more effective this time. The pacing builds tension, gradually feeding the story in small bites without overwhelming the horror. It keeps the audience guessing without falling into the trap of lore dumps. That balance between storytelling and scares is what makes this entry work. Some of the scare sequences are the strongest since the original film, and even though the clown once again shows up, at least the context and setting give his appearances a little more impact. That said, the ties to the larger Hell House mythology feel unnecessary. This film could have easily stood on its own as a completely separate found footage horror story. The Abaddon connections are minimal and don't add much. They actually hold the movie back because it forces the story to fit into a larger universe that was already feeling bloated. Still, as part of the franchise, this is easily the standout after the original, and it shows Cognetti can still create effective scares when he strips things back. And now, to nobody's surprise, coming in at number 1, we have Hell House LLC. The original film is still by far the strongest. Presented as a documentary, it follows a team of haunted house creators as they prepare to open their attraction inside the abandoned Abaddon Hotel. On opening night, something goes horribly wrong. 15 people die, both guests and staff. The film gradually reveals what really happened through behind-the-scenes footage and interviews. This is found footage horror done right. The framing device of a documentary makes the story feel real and authentic, pulling you into the mystery right away. The way it withholds information, only giving you pieces at a time, keeps you on edge throughout the whole runtime. You know something bad is coming, but the details of how and why are revealed in such a way that it keeps you hooked. The scares are excellent. They're subtle, unsettling, and don't rely on cheap tricks. This is the movie that introduced that infamous clown, and here, before the sequels ran him into the ground, he's legitimately terrifying. The stillness, the way the camera just lingers, and the slow realization that something isn't right. That's what makes the horror so effective. The characters also feel real and likable. You buy into them as a group of people just trying to pull off their haunted attraction. And when things start spiraling, it hits harder because you're invested in them. This sense of realism elevates the film beyond just jump scares. It creates genuine dread. The concept itself, using a haunted attraction as the backdrop, is genius. It's the perfect setting for a found footage film because you're already dealing with dark hallways, creepy props, and fake scares. The line between staged horror and real horror blurs, making the scares feel organic and grounded. It's the kind of setup that doesn't need sequels because it works so perfectly as a standalone. So looking back, this franchise really has more misses than hits. Even though Origins is a step in the right direction, it would have been better as its own standalone project. At this point, I think Stephen Cognetti needs to let Hell House go. He's proven himself as a competent director. His film 825 Horse Road from earlier this year was one I really enjoyed, and I'd love to see him branch out into new ideas instead of returning to this well over and over again. That said, as of right now, there's a 5th film out, Hell House LLC Lineage, and I'll be posting a full review of that tomorrow. My hopes aren't high, but we'll see if it surprises me. Thanks for watching this ranking of the Hell House LLC films. If you enjoyed the video, please give it a like and hit subscribe. It helps the channel a ton. And if you'd like to support me directly, consider joining my Patreon for just $1 a month. It's a small way to support what I do here, and I'd really appreciate it. Thanks for watching. I'll see you guys in the next one.